Battlefield 2042 and Call of Duty Vanguard are the two big games coming out this year, and since both betas are now over and done with, I decided to put together a little Venn diagram pointing out differences and similarities. This video will have a similar structure to those iceberg videos, in which I'll point out a feature or issue with the game and say one or two things about it. Here's a picture of the Venn diagram. I'm going to start with Battlefield 2042, then to Call of Duty, and then to their similarities. I've also left timestamps in the description if you're not interested in one of the parts. Let's start with Battlefield 2042. Battlefield has a few new ideas and some systems this time around, so let's check them out. Let's start with on-the-spot customization. This is pretty cool for a few reasons. Say you get engaged by a long-range target, but your gun isn't suited for a long-range fight. With the new customization system, you can quickly put on a longer-range scope and barrel and take out that opposing player. This is great for encounters that happen out of the blue, and you even have a chance at winning a gunfight, even if you're not initially suited for that engagement. Now the bad part. The system does limit the amount of attachments that you can apply to your gun, as you don't want 100 boxes covering up the screen. The menu to navigate it is also clunky as well, as sometimes it changes attachments without me pressing a button, and it can be annoying to cycle through the options at times. They also don't even let you customize your attachments before you spawn in, which is just a really silly design oversight. Now on to vehicles. These are undoubtedly the coolest part of Battlefield, getting to command a tank or mow down enemies from a gunship. These are always fun to command, yet they somehow fucked it up in Battlefield. This is due to the awful aiming. It's near impossible to get a clear shot because the camera is always jerking to random positions. I think this might be because of the terrain, but this doesn't seem to be a problem in the older games. You're also able to spawn in vehicles wherever you are, which is a nice quality of life improvement, but there's also some glitches where it just clips through the ground, which is also kind of stupid. Specialists are new to Battlefield and are one of the most divisive changes made to the game. Battlefield has always had a 4-class system, but now there's some changes that really allow you to hone your playstyle. However, by allowing you to change the way you play, it discourages teamwork. By limiting classes to certain weapon archetypes, it gives you a good understanding of where you should position yourself with teammates. However, by letting every class customize themselves just makes all the classes feel the exact same, just with minor differences. These differences can be somewhat interesting, but all we've seen so far is, oh, this guy has a grapple hook, and oh, yo, this guy has a healing gun. To put it simply, it gives you all the freedom you want at the cost of interesting gameplay decisions. Semi-Futuristic is what they've gone with for Battlefield 2042, and while they've already done it many times in the past, it still leaves the game with lots of room for semi-futuristic gameplay elements, specifically with the vehicles and specialist abilities. All-Out Warfare is the main mode you're most likely going to be playing, and this is a massive, large-scale 64 vs 64 battle. That's really all that has changed with the core gameplay, more players and Tornado. It does the job if you're looking for a new Battlefield game, but if you're looking for an improved Battlefield game, you're probably gonna have to wait another few years. Hazard mode is an experimental mode, and although I feel like this is something you'll only play once and then never again, here's how it works. The way it works is that you get into a squad of 4 and try to collect data drives while fighting other squads trying to do the same thing. As this happens, there is also a storm that closes in on you, so you want to strategize on when to extract as you only get 1 life. I'm not really too interested, as this literally just seems like a one-off Warzone mode rather than a full-on game mode I would continue to play. Battlefield Portal is just the ultimate community project. It's basically a mishmash of a billion sandbox elements from previous games, which includes Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3. They're bringing back weapons, vehicles, maps, everything. And here's the community aspect. The game mode is fully customizable. There's a Scratch-like coding system which allows you to customize the game. How much we're able to customize, I don't really know, but if they really allow us to have full freedom over the little details, this mode could have tons of potential. I could imagine some really frantic and interesting game modes, and this could be a nice thing to keep players active while new content is still being worked on. I'm really interested in what this mode can offer. Okay, that was basically every unique addition or feature of Battlefield 2042. So allow me to not so seamlessly transition into Allow me to not so seamlessly transition into Call of Duty Vanguard. World War II is the setting for this year's Call of Duty and is the 6th mainline entry set in World War II. That's kind of it. The guns and maps are from the time and are somewhat accurate. minus the holographic yellow dot, to their historical counterparts, but if you're a gun nut, feel free to connect me on that one. Vanguard also has to be connected to the previous Call of Duty games, specifically through Warzone. All the guns have to be implemented into the game and it's gonna change the map. I can only really imagine the amount of articles talking about the M1 Garand one-shotting people from the other side of the map or some other broken thing. I never thought the campaign would be in only one of the games. Since Battlefield doesn't have a campaign, Vanguard has a chance to be in the spotlight. To be fair, the last two COD games have had very good campaigns, and this new one seems very promising. Vanguard is apparently a spin on World War II about forming a squad to hunt down Hitler's successors and stop a Nazi resurgence. If that doesn't hook you, I don't know what will. The interesting premise and the win streak COD campaigns have been on lately gives me very high hopes for this campaign. Multiplayer modes are the exact same, with one new one. You got Team Deathmatch, Domination, Kill Confirmed, all the classics. I don't even know if they're bringing back the party modes from previous entries. It sucks that it's just the same modes, but they are offering a little bit of change to them. There are different cues for different types of gameplay, ranging from tactical, slower paced combat to fast paced, high octane madness. This is a neat addition, but it's not suitable enough to replace new modes. We do have one new game mode launching with Vanguard, and that is Champion Hill, which has the potential to be a really fun and interesting game mode. It's basically about these back-to-back gunfights with small teams that can go up to 3v3. You can pick up cash to upgrade your weapons, and it's kind of this neat little mix of battle royale and gunfight, which is what literally everyone has said about this mode. However, this mode loses its charm for me very quickly, and I kind of feel like this is a mode made for tournaments rather than something for everyone to enjoy. This game mode is just a bit too niche for me to get into. Zombies looks even more over the top than ever with all these crazy power-ups. It really feels like a classic arcade experience. I think Zombies is going to be really good considering Treyarch is going to work on it, but I do want to see some additions and changes. Add some leaderboards and encourage all playstyles. Zombies should be about having fun, and restricting it to one or two playstyles can be extremely grating after some time. Also, just have enough content to satisfy at launch. If you didn't know, this is actually code for have more than one map. I think that's about all the unique things for each game. Now for this. Graphics for both these games are just fine. Both of these games used to be associated with pushing the limits of graphics, but I think they both could have done better. I think the thing about graphics is how well they will age down the line. Looking at Battlefield 1, I can look at that game and say it's still comparable to games coming out now. That game came out in 2016, by the way. Black Ops 2 looks pretty damn good, and that came out 9 years ago. These games will look fine, but I don't feel that they will age that well. Another thing I want to mention is how graphics can interfere with the gameplay. I believe that gameplay should never be sacrificed just so you can have a couple raindrops appear as they hit the floor. This is what Vanguard did, is the muzzle flash literally turns the shooting into a guessing game. It also has issues with lens flares, which was also a problem in the previous games. This isn't too much of a problem in Battlefield, as you can always disable any visual effects you find distracting or annoying, which Vanguard doesn't have. Here's the thing with the user interface. You don't notice a good one, and you can definitely tell when one is bad. Both are like the exact same though. Nothing is really hard to navigate or anything. I can find everything, just holy shit, dude. Make the UI something interesting. It's just the exact same from the previous two games, and Battlefield just copied the Call of Duty one. Make something interesting. Gunplay is important to how games feel. If it feels even a little off, it has the ability to butcher the experience. The way I see it is that Battlefield is making some noticeable changes to the gunplay, while Vanguard is just copying Modern Warfare. Battlefield has always had some pretty nice gunplay. The guns had weight to them, aiming field noticeably realistic. It all felt really grounded in reality. However, in 2042, all the guns feel like feathers that shoot pebbles. Look at this rocket launcher. It just shoots like a tiny rock or something. There's no sound, there's no weight to that shot. It's not even a fucking rocket, it's a yellow line. Now look at Battlefield 4. That actually feels like a rocket launcher. Vanguard doesn't have this problem, as the guns don't feel like marshmallow shooters. They actually have weight, there's recoil, but there's still problems with its gunplay. It has the problem where aiming down sights takes really long, especially after sprinting, but they also punish you for hip firing. The spread for hip firing is so unbelievably large that it's actually comical. It's this loop of punishing aiming down sights while also punishing hip firing. So, what can you do exactly? Put that shit in the trash! Vanguard has better gunplay than Battlefield, but it still has its issues. Maps. Both games have them. I don't really like. They both have crippling flaws that I absolutely despise. Like, Battlefield is just so big and there's so much empty space. Meanwhile, Vanguards have some maps that are so close quarters to the point where snipers become sticks that just happen to shoot bullets. Look at this map from Vanguard. It's literally a fucking rectangle. There's another that's literally just one long corridor. There's hardly any open areas on these two maps. Meanwhile, Battlefield is the complete fucking opposite. No areas for close combat and huge areas where you find yourself running aimlessly looking for people to shoot. I think Vanguard gets some bonus points for interactivity, and since we haven't gotten the chance to play the other Battlefield maps, I can't really come to a fair conclusion on this. I think Vanguard has the better maps so far, but I think the other maps that are coming sooner in Battlefield have a chance to be better than the ones in Vanguard. Bugs are kind of gross, right? Oh, you haven't seen the ones from Vanguard. Has some pretty bogus bugs and glitches, such as one where a shotgun melee would do fire damage. But Battlefield just takes the cake for this one. You got constant visual glitches with flashing lights. You have some really jank animations that look like they came from a fucking Game & Watch. Broken planes moving at 2 frames per second. Dead bodies having an aneurysm. It's just fucking unacceptable. These bugs are completely unacceptable for a beta and even less acceptable for a game coming out in a month. Even more unacceptable when you find out this is the biggest dev team to have ever worked on a game ever. To be fair, pretty much all Battlefield games have launched in really buggy states and have turned out great, but why does this have to continue? This also applies to Call of Duty. What is so wrong with giving the developers more time to patch up the bugs instead of relying on post-launch updates? You know the answer, I know the answer. Is to profit off the holiday season. Is it really that hard to wait until next year for these games to come out? We know for sure that you won't be going bankrupt over this, so overall Vanguard has less bugs and glitches, but I can imagine that this game still has a ton of annoying issues that won't be patched until after the game launches. Customization is important to how you shape your playstyle. What type of weapons do you use? What attachments will benefit you? What class do you prefer playing? It's all incredibly important to how players will be able to change the way they play. Here's the thing, Vanguard doesn't have bad customization, it's just that it's the exact same as the last 2 games. Just make something new for once, try to experiment. As soon as one game tries to do something new and innovative, the next handful of games do the exact same thing over and over. It just gets irritating, and not seeing any new ideas come to life is just kind of painful. Battlefield had that on-the-fly weapon customization, but that came with its own problems, which I already mentioned. The gun system is clearly the better choice, but God, just make something new for once, Activision. Okay, that's kind of about everything I can cover before I spontaneously combust, so let me add a few points. I think it's really stupid that both these games are being forced to come out in such unfinished states. I think it really shows how much video games have been corporatized and how companies feel the need to push out a game regardless of if it is finished or not. I get that I'm kind of echoing opinions from literally everywhere, but I think it's true. I also wanted to mention that despite how awful these games are going to be, millions of people are still going to buy them because voting with their wallet seems to be absent from anyone's minds. I think it's about time I explode, so I'll just